My name is Jessica Mara, for those of you who don't know. I'm going to be here introducing our next speaker. Her name is Maharishi Hausler. She's actually born in Singapore, and she was actually a former London financial trader. And after she got her master's in economics in Shoemaker College in the UK, she traveled to Brazil and ended up formulating a local currency called the Inquiri, if I'm saying that correctly. And she's also the founder of the Give and Take Lab, where they offer exploration with the new relationships with money. And she's also working on a new project with schools and companies to integrate social entrepreneurship and social currency, and integrating the UN sustainability goals. So I welcome to the stage Maharishi Hausler.
So thank you for having me here. It's such a pleasure to be in Iowa. Is Lonnie here by any chance? Hey! So it's thanks to him that I know about your community, your work, the university. We met at Shoemaker College, and he told me all about it, and it inspired me. So when Michael got in touch, I couldn't refuse to come across the world and be with you here today.
Wow. What a small world. So I recently found out that you're half German and half Chinese. So tell me about how that has influenced your experiences overall throughout your life.
I like to say that it's the two countries that built the biggest walls in the world. And it's my mission to break those down.
Okay, great.
So it's a bridge between East and West. And I've grown up with two completely different cultures, and I think that's made me who I am today, this international person, being able to travel and really fit into different places. So.
Wow, that's really great. And I've looked into a lot of your work and looked at your videos, and everything you do is based around money. So could you tell us why money?
Yeah, so I see money as a neutral energy, something that can be transformed for the higher good or for something lower that might be destructive in the world. And throughout the years, and I'll go through my story a bit as I share with you today, but I realized that really it's the foundation of our lives. Our systems are built on it. We don't leave home without our wallets. We can't interact in the world without it. And so it's really up to us to look at this, to look how we relate to this and how we relate to others through this, and what we charge, let's say, money with, or the system. So.
Great, I love that. Well, I think we're ready to hear more about your story and money in general, so I'll leave you to the stage here.
Thanks, Jessica. So who in here is an entrepreneur or wants to be an entrepreneur? Raise your hands. Wow. I thought we might have a big audience here, considering the title of our conference. So I wanted to be an entrepreneur from a very young age. And actually, with the topic of money, I thought that money would bring me freedom. It would bring me possibilities in life. And so it took me on a journey to becoming the social entrepreneur I am today. I started working from a very young age. I started babysitting my brother and sister's friends. I wanted to make money the way I could. Working in shops of my parents' friends, begging friends to be able to do things, because I thought that was the way out. I thought money was freedom. The way out of the life I was in, I wanted to make it. And to me, that meant money. I grew up in an affluent community. I went to international schools, and there was no need for me to work. But I had this drive inside, and most importantly, I wanted to be connected to people and understand it. Moving on, when I was in my teenage years and going to university, the place where you could make the big bucks was finance. It was being a trader, and I had in my mind, that's what I'm going to be. So I ended up interning in different banks and working as a trader in one of the tier 1 investment banks in London. I had in my mind I wanted to make X amount of money by the time I was 30, and I wanted to be a managing director, an MD. At the age of 25, I'd been promoted every single year. I was the only woman on the trading floor with 100 men. And I was making the big bucks. I had something to prove, so I was outperforming everyone. And these were men who'd been there for centuries, and I was this young girl there going yeah, I'm going to make this. But I was deeply unhappy. I was living the life that you see in the movies, traveling, partying, thinking that money was everything. But I would come home and look in the mirror, and I was soulless. There was just sadness in my eyes. And then I encountered a type of meditation for the first time. And I told my teacher, I don't have time for this. And he goes, just take 5 minutes. I'm like, I'll take a minute walking to work. So on the way to work, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And that minute turned into 5 minutes, it turned into 10 minutes, and that turned into half an hour. And then it was the part that propelled me out of finance. It showed me that I was not living with my values. Like, I was making money, but it wasn't aligned with who I was, with what I wanted to be in the world. And so I decided to leave and to go traveling. And I remember I left on a sabbatical, and the head of the bank called me up, and he's like, if you don't come back, we're taking all your shares away. And I was like, you can take all the money away, but you can't take my life. If you don't know, in finance, they pay you in deferred shares. So you get your bonus paid over 3 years. So you get a year, part of it in the next year, the year after, and the year after that. So basically, it's like the donkey and the carrot. You never really get there. It's like the golden handcuffs. And so I said to him, okay, you can take all of that, but you can't take my life. I'm walking out. And when I started traveling, some of the first people I met were travelers from Ireland who had mortgages 5 times the amounts their houses were worth. I, at the time, was a high situations trader. That meant during the crisis, I was trading AIG, I was trading Lehman Brothers, I was trading all the Irish banks, the Spanish banks, the Portuguese banks, everything that was going down, and I was making millions, hundreds of millions on this. We were sitting in rooms completely disconnected from the people outside, completely disconnected from people's lives. So when I started traveling and meeting people who were affected by the financial crisis, like the penny dropped. I was like, my God, what is happening? What is the world up to? So that took me by synchronicity to Schumacher College. It was a long journey. I was in spiritual communities all around the world, from India to Brazil. I was trying to find another way of living, another way of the world, economy, money, trying to figure something out. And at Schumacher College, I got the space to integrate my life as a financial trader with something new. I got to understand economics in a new way. It took me 2 months to realize, like, people don't want to just make money. Like, there's cooperatives. People care about each other. Really? I was like, wow. And so after that whole thing of shaking me up, I did my thesis in a community in Brazil where I lived with a community, and we created their own community currency in Keyries. And these are going really strong. Like 2 years on, the community is setting up their own banking system. Everyone's getting paid in Keyries, and they're working with other banks in Brazil to create a whole social banking system, like a whole platform that other social banks can open up, basically community currencies, to empower communities. For me, this was huge when I understood this. But when I was there, I realized, okay, we can change the notes and coins that people are using on the outside, but if we don't change the way we relate to money, we're just going to have the same problems again. People are going to replicate fear, greed, scarcity. They're going to deal with money in the same ways as they did before. So the workshop, Me, Myself, and Money, that I've been working with, was born about your personal and emotional relationship to money. It was so important for me that people started understanding this. So then, when we moved on from the Me, Myself, and Money workshop, I started doing it all around the world with different communities, India, Brazil. I traveled everywhere, and I wanted to spread the work. And then it turned into coaching because I'd have clients and basically people I worked with saying, we want to learn about this. And most recently, I launched Give and Take Lab, where I'm exploring new ways of relating to money, new ways of relating to the economy and working with people in different areas of society. A year ago, I decided, after 8 years of traveling, to move to Portugal. I'm incubated in something called Casa do Impacto, an impact hub. Portugal is a center for social entrepreneurship in Europe. People are so entrepreneurial because of the crisis, because there were no jobs, because people needed to make their own livelihoods and find out who they were. They were facing things. So when tragedy happens, when crisis happens, we don't have a choice but to look at ourselves and to look at the world we're living in. And so like incredible projects are born there. And I've partnered with another social enterprise, and we're creating a game for schools and now for companies to learn about the UN Sustainable Development Goals, to bring sustainability in a new way to the world. At Schumacher College, something that I learned and that was so important to me was looking at ecology and economy. Ecology and economy come from the same Greek word called oikos, which means home. Ecology is the study of our home, and economy is the management of our home. And I'm talking about our greater home, the planet that we all live on. And so my work now is about bringing us to understand, how do we manage the economy? How do we manage our greater home, that we can take care of it for future generations to come? This world that we've been given to live on, to take care of. So it's estimated that it costs $50 trillion to deal with the UN Sustainable Development Goals, to deal with the social issues, economic, environmental, that we currently are facing today. And if not each and every one of us takes part, we cannot do it. It's all of our responsibilities. So the work I'm working with now is to educate people around these issues, to empower, and then to take action in the world. It's about all of us to take our responsibility and taking that step into the future. So basically, for me, my journey took me from money to social entrepreneurship. And I felt that social entrepreneurship allowed me to tie my values together. That spirit in me that wanted to make money in finance, but linking it to something that can be a greater good for the world and for all of us. It was about living to my values. So I encourage each and every one of you to find out what your values are and what you want to stand for. It's not about doing things in the world that you feel like you have to. I feel like I had to go through that, maybe Kayhryn and others did, but it's not for you to have to go through that journey, to have to struggle. You're here, you have tools. Take them and find out what you want to bring to the world and have that courage to do that. I obviously faced challenges along the way. It wasn't always easy. When I left finance, everyone told me I was completely crazy. My parents, my family, my friends. It was the top of my career, and I had contracts from 5 other banks at the time. But I knew it wasn't right for me. I had to follow that. And of course, along the way, I questioned myself. I thought, oh my God, I'm completely nuts. What am I doing? Everyone else is going on with their lives. But I trusted something deeper inside of me. And of course, I've done ventures that didn't totally work out. I launched other workshops. I launched a retreat center for 3 years. I launched a platform, many different things. But I kept going. And I believe every one of us needs to find that drive inside of us to keep going. And something that I'm working on at the moment in myself, and that's become really, really important in my life, is the feminine aspects. It's bringing the feminine back in. In finance, I was this go-getter woman. Like, I wanted to kill everyone. I didn't care who you were. I was going to get that money. And I was becoming friends with my clients and making so much money off them, not telling them that. I didn't care at the time. But when I left, I went into a huge crisis of thinking, like, who am I? And what do I represent in the world? And what do I want to stand for? And so now, since I've been working on the feminine over these years, it's not like man or woman, no. It's about the principles of receptivity, patience, awareness. It's like the seed that we plant. We plant a seed. We have all the nourishments. We watch it sprout, but we don't scream at it, grow, grow, grow. Or when the sprout's out, we don't start yanking the sprout out of the ground, telling it to grow faster. No, but we think life has become like this. It's about giving it space, nurturing it, nourishing it, and then the fruits will come. Then the flowers will blossom. So for me, that's a huge kind of lesson from my journey and to bring into our lives. We live in a culture that's so fast, so goal-oriented. Can we bring more of that essence in? Because there's never a wrong idea or a wrong thing. No, it's all about timing and meeting, like when opportunity meets like the time that we're in, when it's ready, it's when the fruit is ready, when it's ripe, it will blossom. So, all of you entrepreneurs here, everyone in the audience, I feel like sharing a few things that really feel important to me, and that if I would have heard it before and really listened to it, it would have helped me a lot. One of them is follow your heart, follow your gut. Don't listen to what others have to say if it doesn't feel right inside. Only you know what's right for you. And if you have your practice, you know how to tune in. I know like sometimes when you do something, it doesn't quite seem right at the moment, but when you look back, everything looks perfect. In some indigenous cultures, they talk about the golden thread that weaves through life. And I remember, I think it was Steve Jobs who said he did a calligraphy class at university. And then years later, he realized why he did it, because he could invent the fonts that he was doing. You know, sometimes we don't know why we do things, but when we look back, it makes total sense. So really follow your hearts. The second thing is that there's no two people who are the same. You are completely unique. There's only one of you. And if you're not giving to the world what you've come here to give, the world is missing out. Every one of us is missing out, not to see your uniqueness, not to see what you're here to bring. So it's up to you to stand up and to do that. And the third point is, don't take no for an answer. There's no failure. It's just lessons. Stand up and keep going. There's only one path, and you're the one who's making your life path. There's no right or wrong way. It's taking every step at a time and then looking what opportunities open. I could have not imagined 10 years ago I'd be here today, but all the little steps brought me forward. So I really, really urge you to bring these with you and to bring that entrepreneurial spirit alive in yourselves. The world was not changed by people who walked in other footsteps. The world is changed by people who took risks, by people who stepped out of the box and made things happen. And you guys here are really special with what you're learning, with where you are. The first day I arrived here, I just felt this incredible energy and what's been happening here. So really take that forward into the world with you and make that change, because that change only comes from you and from every single person taking their steps of uniqueness. So dare to be extraordinary. Dare to be unique. Thank you.